Oh my days, will you just look at this? I saw this on another platform. These are the average energy prices.
It's £20 on a minute, £25, £30 on a minute, £35, £45 on a minute, £45, £55, £65, £75 on a minute, £75, £80 on a minute, £85, £95 on a minute, £95, £100 on a team.
The only way you're going to be able to save on your energy bills right now is if you take action.
Do you need to pay your electricity bill? Not necessarily. Let me tell you more.
This news hit this morning that energy prices are going to be higher over the winter.
I did a budget my monthly salary video with me the other day, and so many of you were shocked by how cheap my electricity bill was.
Good morning from the UK, just woken up, sun starting to come out, and we've spent basically £6 overnight on electricity. Bloody ridiculous.
This morning, see your electricity and gas company, right? Now, for instance, I'm with Octopus. Now, I moved from Ovo to Octopus. I wouldn't say that Octopus are much better, to be honest with you. Everybody was like, move over to them, they're great. I don't pay by direct debit anymore. Since all of this happened, since all of this price increase happened, the amount that any electricity company is charging you per month for direct debit is insane, right? I can't remember what mine was, but it was absolutely off the scale nuts. You know how they do like an estimate thing? So I was like, right, nah, I'm just going to pay what I use each month, right? Now, if you're even one day over, like the date that your bill would be due, the Octopus are continually phoning you, right, to pay it, which is fair enough, chasing it up, but it's pure harasses me and I can't cope. But not only that, they've got like their reward system, and it's like you get free coffee, one free coffee at Greg's per week. You get like free coffee at, I think it's Cafe Nero, different places, right? Because I don't pay by direct debit, I can't use that service, which doesn't bother me. But see, instead of giving us a reward service, can you not just, I'd rather have what is.
Welcome to Blighty Blighted, one of the last bastions of free speech on this YouTube thingy. Now then, let's talk about the lecky bills. Electricity bills in Britain. Let's talk about them, or as I call them, the monthly heart attack subscription. Every time that bill lands on the doormat, I need a stiff drink and a lie down. I open it like it's a bomb disposal exercise. Slow, careful, praying it doesn't blow up my pension. I turned on the kettle the other day and felt financially irresponsible. That's where we're at. I'm in my late 90s. I should be enjoying warmth, comfort, maybe a nice quiet retirement. Instead, I'm sat here calculating whether I can afford to switch the light on, or if candles are the modern British lifestyle choice. And the energy companies? Oh, they're doing very well, thank you. They send letters saying, "We understand the difficulties customers are facing."
But what I don't understand is that UK electricity prices are down here. They were up here when the energy price cap was raised previously. Now, the way that Ofgem calculates the price cap is they use 3 months, a 3-month sort of average. And for the previous one, they used February to May. But surely for this one, they're using May to like August. But energy price is way, way lower. So why is it higher? Pretty much everyone was expecting the price cap to actually be lower. So this is a little bit of a shock. A 2% rise isn't huge, but it doesn't make sense according to their methodology. So if someone a little bit more versed in this energy methodology, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, can reply and tell me why they've raised it when everyone was expecting it to be lower, that would be absolutely great.
We now know that on the 1st of October, the energy price cap is going to rise by 2%. That means we know what you're going to pay on the price cap until the end of this year. And it isn't good. In fact, it's a pants cap. 2/3 of homes in England, Scotland and Wales are on the price cap. Basically, that's you if you're on your firm's standard tariff. If you're not on a fix, if you're not on a special deal, you're on the bog standard do nothing tariff, you're on the energy price cap, and it isn't good. The cheapest fixes where you lock in a rate, you know what you're going to pay for the next year, are 13% cheaper than the October price cap. So you know you can save instantly and will save until at least December. Now, these are the predictions for after December on the price cap, and they do change. It is a bit crystal ball gazing. It'll drop 2% in January, so putting it back to what you're paying right now. But then it's predicted to go up around 5% in April and up again next July. If those predictions are right, you will save massively by being on the cheapest fix. So don't sit on your hands and just let the price move up in October. Get off the pants cap, get onto a whole of market comparison service and find your cheapest fix, because it depends on where you live and how much you use, and see if you can save. It should work for virtually everybody except those on old school, non-smart prepayment meters.
It was £69.84 for the month of April, and some of you said to actually double check with Octopus just to make sure I'm not underpaying so I don't get slapped with a big bill. So I called them and they said it was right. For reference, I have a 1-bed flat and there's 2 of us living here. So now I'm curious to know how much your electricity bill is. I can only think it's so cheap because 1, we both can't work from home. 2, we get home from work about 3 p.m. and go to bed about 8 o'clock because we start really early, so we're not really using that much electricity. We cook our food in bulk, so we're not cooking every day as we meal prep. Cold water is included in the service charge, so I only have to pay for my electric bill, which heats up the water. And we're mainly shower people, so we don't use much electric there. No gas in the property, so it's all electric. We also didn't put the heating on this month as my flat gets really warm. Let me know how much your electric costs.
In 2024, Ofgem had to pay electricity generators, companies that were generating electricity, in excess of £220 million to stop supplying electricity to the grid to prevent it being overloaded. Right now, almost all of that electricity was generated from offshore wind. So when the people on the right say the net zero is costing us more money, there are certain ways that we're pursuing the net zero agenda, which undoubtedly in the short term is costing us quite significantly. But one of the issues with it is, even though Ed Miliband and co are promoting this net zero agenda, they're not actually investing in the infrastructure that would make the transition to net zero possible. And not only that, even if we ignore the desire to move towards net zero, just in terms of practically reducing the cost of energy in this country, we need an enormous overhaul, massive infrastructure investment in the national grid to increase the carrying capacity of the grid so that all of the electricity that we are already currently generating from renewables is able to be supplied to people, it's able to be circulated. If that supply goes up, that's going to reduce the cost because it's going to end up creating an equilibrium or more of an equilibrium with the demand that we have. This is something that no one is talking about. No one wants to talk about the fact that the grid is unable to handle the amount of electricity that we currently are generating. Right? And we want to move to net zero where everything's going to be run on electric. It's currently completely untenable. However, there is light at the end of the tunnel here. If you simply invested enough in the national grid to increase the carrying capacity by, say, £1.5 billion worth of electric supply per year, you'd increase the ability for renewables to meet that demand for electric. This is infrastructure that's already in place. These businesses already exist. They're already generating the electricity. This would lead to an instant reduction in the cost of the electricity in the UK, which has a trickle-down effect on lowering costs for all businesses and individuals that use electricity. This would go a long way towards reducing inflation in so many areas of the economy. Why is no one talking about it?
Electric prices are going up. As of this month, everyone will pay a minimum of £290. Even if you don't use the units, you still have to pay this. It's basically because the national grid is in the shit, and to prevent collapse, they need to charge everyone this, a minimum of £290. It's not that far off anyway, is it? Which is funny. And I thought this because I had, we pay over £200 a month for gas and electric, and from July it said it was going down to about £150, but that's changed now, and it's still where it is. I've not thought to ring up and question it because we're going in a few months and it's nicely building up to a little bit of an extra payout before we go, but yeah, £290 minimum for electricity. Wow.
Thanks, Doran, for your comment. Yes, you're right. Electricity in the UK is really expensive, and it certainly doesn't help that we've now sold out. Like, British Gas is owned by Centrica, which is, as we know, a French company. So I don't think it does help. The energy market's just an absolute mess. I'm just sat here in the podcast room. We're going to be doing a podcast shortly on the latest news from the energy industry. But thanks for your comment, Doran. Hope you're keeping well.
Living.
Hello and welcome back to the channel, and thank you for joining me in another piece of information that's been handed to me that I thought would be useful. We do try on this show as much as possible to, as well as my monologues in which I'm sort of pontificating about life, the universe and everything, and why the government seem to be totally against us, we can see here that there is another scam going on, a scam that's been going on for some time. We've all been subject to it, and perhaps it's time that we turn the tables. So this was sent to me by a friend of mine from a Facebook group. Now, I'll put the link in and you can check the verification of it yourself, do your own due diligence, etc. I'm just passing on information. So I can only credit the group rather than the individual, because I don't know the name of the person who composed what I'm going to read to you today. But I think you'll find this absolutely fascinating. You may know some of it anyway, or maybe all of this is news to you. So this is from the Stop Paying Billing Companies UK Facebook group. As I say, there'll be a link in the description. So let me put it up on the screen so we can read this together. So here it is from Stop Paying Billing Companies UK, and this is the post. I remember when Maggie T privatised utilities, and wondering how British Gas, with no infrastructure in the electricity generation and supply industry, could suddenly, overnight, supply people with electricity, or how previously electric boards became companies that could manage to supply gas in direct competition with the mighty British Gas. How could someone create a new company, make no investment in infrastructure, enter the market, and then supply gas and electricity? I mean, that is in and of itself is a question that perhaps people just don't ask. Maybe we need to do more critical thinking at these events in history.
Across Europe look like annual prices. So bottom of the list, we have Poland at 174 euros, average energy prices. Finland, 476 euros. Norway, 543 euros. Austria, 545. Holland, 546. Denmark, 558. All the way up to France, 650 euros per annum. The UK, would you look at that? £2,585 average energy price in the UK. Next, what I'm going to show you next is going to shock you.
Check out the price difference between taking a train from London to Manchester versus flying from Berlin to Manchester.
The point is, it cost us £150 per person to travel from London to Manchester. My one co-founder is actually based in Berlin. His flight return from Berlin to Manchester only cost him £20.
I put up a video yesterday saying you don't necessarily need to pay your council tax bill, and somebody commented with this: it's the same with electricity. But is this true? Let's have a think about it. When you moved into your home, did you sign a legally binding contract saying that you would pay for electricity? The power was probably already on as soon as you moved into your home, right? But somehow a bill magically appeared with your name on it. In the UK, energy companies rely on something called an implied contract. But an implied contract isn't the same as a legally signed agreement. So if they can't show proof that you personally agreed to their terms, are you really legally obligated to pay? Some people have actually challenged their electricity bills by sending a formal request to the supplier asking them to prove existence of a contract. In some cases, the companies have either struggled to provide that or written off the debt. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that you should stop paying your bills. But what if you actually didn't have to pay them? If they cut off your power when you stop paying, doesn't that mean that they were supplying it to you without a confirmed agreement in the first place? If you can challenge council tax, surely you can challenge utilities as well. And why do some people get away with not paying, whereas many of us do? Let me know what you think in the comments. Have you ever challenged your energy companies? Or would you rather not do it and just continue to pay? I'd love to know, so let me know.
Their energy bills are still too high. And so this winter, the government has decided that nearly 6 million households will get £150 off their energy bills. So if you're on a means-tested benefit and are named on your energy bill, in the coming weeks, letters will be dropping on your doormat confirming your eligibility. We know times are tough, and we're determined to do everything we can to help.
£150. You can help. Resign. Every single one of you. Call a general election. I can guarantee you now, Ed Miliband, when you're in a restaurant, you'd probably spend more than £150 on a bottle of champagne. Don't continue to mock the British public. £150 in 2025 is absolutely ridiculous. And I think you have to be claiming benefits to get that £150. The ones who are struggling, yeah, they deserve that. But there's people who actually just sponge on benefits, who, just cheat the system. We know that. I know that. You know that. Everybody knows it. There's a large majority, a percentage of certain people that don't even work in this country. The statistics are there for you to go and see. They'll get £150. I'd rather them £150 go to the elderly, the ones who you took the winter fuel allowance off. I'll tell you how else you can help, Ed. Stop spending the taxpayers' money on some eco-maniac idea and actually bring our bills down. Not in 2030, no. Absolutely gaslighting the British public, mocking us continuously. People sit back and think, £150, what a guy, what a gentleman. I'm going to vote for these. Living in cuckoo land.
Breaking news! Let's talk about the latest badge of honour for broken Britain. We now pay the highest electricity prices in the world. The world. Let that sink in. We're not leading in tech, trade, healthcare or even Eurovision, but by God we're smashing it when it comes to getting fleeced by the electricity company. And what's the excuse? Net zero. Apparently saving the planet means turning this country into a cold, overpriced battery farm. Germany's still happily burning coal, France has nuclear power coming out its ears, and we've got a windmill in Skegness and a bloke from the council telling pensioners to knit socks and think positive. I'm watching a country where people are charging phones in their car, pensioners skipping meals to heat one room, and meanwhile MPs are in their taxpayer heated offices talking about green innovation, as if the only problem is we don't all drive a Tesla yet. People aren't being dramatic, they're being drowned in standing charges, smart meters and smug advice from millionaires. We were promised clean, cheap energy. We got corporate greenwashing and a nation full of people staring at their plugs like they're a loaded weapon. This isn't a transition, it's a shambles, and the only thing sustainable is the poverty. Thanks for listening, back to you in the studio.
You won't pay a penny more on your council tax. More affordable bills for all, blah blah blah. Oh look, energy prices will be going up by more than double what they were supposed to in October. Right in time for winter. It never fucking ends, the bullshit in this country, does it? It is just one thing after another. You are also going to love the reason, or rather excuse, that they've given for this. Ofgem, the regulator, has said that the price increase is all down to the cost of running wind farms, specifically in remote areas. Due to the fact that they can't turn themselves off and the network can't transfer the power to the areas needed. I mean, have you ever heard such bollocks in all your life? We were told by this Labour government, by Keir Starmer, before they got into power, that energy bills would go down. We wouldn't pay a penny more on our council tax. Turns out it was all one big lie. All we have seen since they come in is price increases. And to top it off, the nation's finances are in a worse state than when we started. We are all being completely shafted. And you know for a fact that these energy companies, these directors, are going to record profits once again this year. Big bonuses all round once again. And I wonder why that is. Damn, we get shafted in the UK. Anyway, let me know what you think of this in the comments.
A typical household gas and electricity bill will rise by 2% for millions of households. It's under the latest price cap, which has been announced by the energy regulator Ofgem. Since the quarterly energy price cap rise by 2% from the 1st of October of this year, this will be a rise of around £2.93 per month for the average household. Now, this is a cap on the energy unit price plus a standing charge, so it's not a cap on total
Well,
bills.
here's what I object to about that on top of everything else. I mean, they're charging us more for what? Nobody comes to read your meter. I'm suddenly bombarded with texts and things. What's your meter reading? I don't even know where my meter is.
No, neither would I. But
what's that all about?
Smart meters, aren't they, now? Most
No,
people
but you have to read it.
No anymore. No. They're changing them all over, so now you've got your smart meter. So it just goes straight to them. You don't actually have to physically read it anymore.
But this is largely based on the cost of energy on wholesale markets. That's what it's based on.
Then why have I to read it?
Have you not got the smart? So you've been there with the...
I don't even know. I live in an apartment block. I have no idea where the meter is.
Okay.
Well, James Schneider is here with us,
But no, it's not my job. I don't want to read their meter.
the former Labour advisor. What's your reaction to this news this morning, James? The energy price cap rises by 2%.
Well, the prices of everything go up all the time, and they don't have to. This is...
Aye, do you? You're writing that from your heated office while we're at home wearing every layer we own like we're climbing Everest. It's gotten to the point where turning on the oven is an act of rebellion. Boiling a full kettle? That's practically a protest movement. I remember when electricity was cheap. Well, reasonable. Now the bills read like ransom notes. Pay up or freeze. Simple as that. The government keeps telling us costs will stabilize. They don't say at what price. Probably somewhere between extortion and daylight robbery. This thing hasn't been plugged in since 2022. I keep it for decoration now, a reminder of better times. Britain, 2025, where survival depends on blankets, sarcasm and praying your smart meter doesn't faint. I will see you on the next video. Cheerio.